Hello everyone, Sabaki here and welcome back to the Nine Realms here in Aska, where we have just gotten a new patch with a whole bunch of new things to explore, so let's get started. Before I started recording, I was racking my brain over what mechanic to dive into first. We look at the new Tinkerer and weapon progression system, party mechanics, armor smithing, market changes, and I settled on summoning a villager, of course. Oh yes, please and thank you very much. Nighttime Worker would be amazing. Snowstrider, meh, but Nighttime Worker, yes, please. Okay, that's done. So what are we doing first? Drum roll, Ed Bucky. The Armor Smith, and for a very simple reason. Look at me. Look at this ancient, filthy, grubby, torn, and then stitched together piece of crap. So let's give ourselves a well-deserved glamour and then talk clothing for the rest of the villagers. So the Militia and the Fighter Shoulder Pad S, we've seen those before, they're not new, but we do have two new leather headpieces available. The basic one, the leather arming cap, and then the slightly better leather helmet. They cost 1 and 2 cured leather hides each respectively. Then over here is the tough leather gambeson and the thick linen gambeson. We've seen those before too, they're not new. Same with the rough iron helmet, we're actually wearing one of those right now. Then we have 3 new helmets, the Norman helmet, full iron helmet, and heavy iron helmet. And then finally down here we have the 2 iron pauldrons that we have seen before as well, and we can't craft these nor the heavy iron helmet right now. They need a craft level of 75. So what I'm thinking is, for myself as the great and wonderful chieftain, is I'll make myself the tough leather gambeson because it's fancy and I deserve fancy things. I also want to make myself the fighter shoulder pads to go with it, and then when it comes to upgrading our helmet, I thought it would be a fun idea to let you guys decide. So they're close enough in armor and durability that I don't really mind which one we go with. So yeah, leave your vote in the comments below. Do you want me to rock the Norman helmet or the full iron helmet? And the one with the most votes will be crafted sometime in the next episode. But okay, let's grab a screenshot of these required materials because I'm never going to remember, and craft ourselves those well-deserved upgrades. Let's go. I ran out of bag space, so let's go dump all of these resources over at the armorer and then get the rest of what we need. That's actually one of the cool things about the armor smith, is it has 2 storages, one for small items here and then one for the medium items, and they can hold a lot, and that is super helpful. Now, one thing I will suggest if you're crafting things yourself to start, come over here to the whitelist page and block everyone, or at least block your warehouse workers where you store these items. Otherwise, they're just going to come along, grab the stuff that you just put in and store it back in the warehouse. I'm going to be blocking everyone for now because I do have a little plan for our armor situation. We'll get into that in a second once I've made my stuff. Okay, that should be more than enough linen, so now I think just the iron plate, right? Let's just grab both of them. Hop on back over to here. This is exciting. Look at us, yes, look at that. We look so much better though. We look so cool. We no longer look like someone who just washed ashore. We look like an actual genuine Viking fighter now. This is so cool. Everything has come together really well. And again, leave a comment below on what headpiece you want me to make, Norman or full iron. Okay, the next thing I want to do with the armor smith is I want to start producing the thick linen gambesons for our villagers, and we're going to do it in 2 separate waves. Let's go ahead and assign Einar. He has some crafting proficiency which will be helpful, and he's a daytime worker currently on the default schedule. So let's look for a nighttime worker to complement him. Marin is sleeping, so maybe her. Yep, Nocturnal Resilience, perfect. And Marin, you are on the night 2 schedule, so let's pop back over to Einar and have him work the day 2 schedule. Done. When it comes to task, like I said, we're going with the thick linen gambeson, mainly due to the reduced cured leather hide cost. It uses 1 instead of the 4 that our leather one used. So let's go ahead and queue 6 of those up, and then for helmets, the Norman helmet is a definite no for villagers because it needs, again, those 2 cured leather hides, and I do want to avoid using them at all costs. The rough iron helmet, on the other hand, isn't that much difference in resources than the full iron helmet, actually. The full iron uses a few more nails and 1 less linen cloth. Honestly, let's just go with the full iron. It's a bit more armor and durability too, so definitely worth the small cost increase. And we'll do 6 of those as well. For anyone wondering why I'm doing this in 2 different waves and blocking everyone via the whitelist, it's because I want to get this armor to my warriors, archers, and market workers as soon as possible, because those are the villagers who need it the most. Our warriors and archers over at Yotenguard would be less at risk from the jumpy boys, and then our market workers will be less at risk as they move through the Draugr fields. More on the market workers later though. I have a really neat trick I learned about that, and I'm quite excited to show you guys it. Alright, done. Armor task set. Now let's make sure we have a good production chain in place for the materials needed for them. Otherwise, you know, nothing's going to get made. So here at the improved metalsmith, let's go into the tasks and let's set a task for those metal plates. I think having 2 on hand at the metalworker at all times makes the most sense. And I recall our metalworkers are Victus and Bjorn. Now let's move the priority of the plates up. Now you don't actually have to do this, but I like to. It's easier on my brain this way. Wait. Something looks off. Are we missing tasks? We are. We're missing a bunch of tasks actually. What the heck happened? We're missing the crude iron axe for starters. Victus and Bjorn to make that. It looks like we're also missing the iron skinning knife. So again, Victus and Bjorn for that. Move you up. We're missing the rake, Victus and Bjorn. We're missing the bloody one-handed iron axe. How? How did that happen? We've literally been making them since we first built the metalsmith. That is wild. Do you think they got cancelled when we upgraded to the improved metalworker? But yeah, that was crazy. I guess take this as a public service announcement. Go check your metalworker and make sure your tools and weapon tasks are still there after upgrading. That was quite scary actually. I'm glad I noticed that. Everything would have just fallen apart if we left those tasks undone. Alright, crisis averted. On to the next thing. Here at the metal part storage, I've set it to accept 2 of everything. So our metalworker is going to have 2 of those iron plates in their bin, and then we'll have 2 here. So on a good day, we'll have 4 on hand, which I think that's a comfortable number. When it comes to storage, we only have Sigurd here at the moment, but with round-the-clock armor crafting and round-the-clock metalworking, we probably want to have round-the-clock warehousing as well, because we want everything to be constantly getting pulled into this one convenient place. Then that way our armor smiths aren't running all over the place wasting time. So Emmeline looks like a good fit. She is, however, a daytime-specific worker, so sorry Sigurd, we're changing you over to the night shift. He'll be less unhappy than if we made Emmeline do it, because Sigurd doesn't have that daylight specific perk. And over here, I think we have the medium leather items already sorted. So here we have our regular uncured leather and pelt storage only, and then right next door, the finished cured versions, as well as linen cloth. So next up would be, that made me jump quite a lot. What I need now though is I do need a couple of small storage bins for the leather scraps and linen thread, and also fiber. We're going to need a lot of fiber for all of the cloth and the thread that we're going to be making for all of this. Now we do have a flax farm here in New Asgard that can provide the flax, but we also have one up in Netherlick, so having a storage in here accepting flax means we can ship any excess down, and that would be super handy. And next up, this has absolutely nothing to do with the armor crafting, but I want to get rid of this firewood storage and replace it with an arrow storage, because it makes more sense in the long run to ship arrows out of here along with our weapons. More on that in a bit though. Orvar is here. Hey birdie. Sorry for the weather. Go grab yourself some clothes. It's getting a little late and the storm is making visibility a bit crap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up these small storages, upgrade one of the warehouses, I'll explain why in the morning, and then for the rest of the night just go on one of my happy little Yotenguard runs over at the large spire and Yotenguard. See you at sunup. Four? Good morning, everyone. What a haul. This is my second trip back to drop off Yotenguard. We got an absolute mountain from the Spire and from Yotenguard, and I don't know if Editor Bucky's going to keep it or cut it out, but one of the followers dropped 4 bloods. 4 bloods! That's a record. I have never seen that before. So let's drop these last few bloods off and talk next steps for this episode. What part of the new update are we going to look at next? Look at that though, we're rich. So as well as farming Yotenblood overnight, I did make a sneaky off-camera upgrade to the warehouse over there. I upgraded it to the improved version because that is a requirement to unlock the improved market, which we'll get to in a second. And in here, our small storage was built, and dang, Sigurd filled them up already. 1 second, I need these empty. And we're back. So why 2 small storages? Well, dear viewer, we want to start shipping in some resources that our armor smiths will be needing that are gathered over in Netherlick. Some of them are gathered here, but the majority of them are being gathered over in Netherlick. So in the first one, I want to set a limit of 50 leather scraps. They stack in 5, so that's 10 slots taken there, and 50 linen thread, which is another 10 slots taken because these ones also stack in 5s. And then in the storage next door, I want to store some of the stuff that stacks into larger quantities. So bone fragments, 250 of those, and then feathers, 250 or 200, I guess, and then fibers, 750 of those. So the bone and feathers are obviously for arrow crafting, nothing to do with the armorer, but we have so many sitting up at Netherlick just collecting dust. It'll make sense to bring those in, start making some more arrows. Can I change that? No. Computer say no. And then the fibers here, obviously for the linen cloth and thread, since again, Netherlick has that flax farm that is just producing way more than they'll ever need. And since I have some of this crap on me, I'll just kickstart these storages. And we're done, kind of. We're done with storage. Now let's do the logistics and trade. Let's come over here to the market and upgrade it to the improved version. And while my builders get started on that, I'm going to go ahead and explain why. Now, as much as I love the Armorers and Tinkerers patch, it's great, right? We have weapon progression, party system, a bunch of new buildings, but there was one small line in the update that I kind of missed when reading the notes, but it is actually incredibly important, like game-changingly important, especially for a series like the 9 Realms that relies heavily on outposts, and that is this one line that read, fixed an issue with market workers where it would not use proper task quantities. Now that might sound like nothing, but it is huge, literally, for anyone with multiple outposts and relying on market routes, because before, no matter what you told your market to ship or warehouses to receive and allow as quotas, your market worker would just completely ignore all of that and just blast these warehouses with the same item over and over and over again. I don't know if you remember, but earlier in the series, I don't remember which episode, but we were setting up a trade route with Netherlick, and I wanted to send over some simple bows, arrows, and I think maybe 1 iron knife or 2 iron knives. What happened was we ended up with a tool rack just absolutely swamped in simple bows and a few iron knives, and it was becoming a huge drain on our resources because as the market worker is just sending these things over and over again, our workshop workers in New Asgard were replacing them over and over again, and it was just becoming an absolute mess, which is why in the logistics episode we set up those workshops in Netherlick and the workshop over in Yotenguard as a way to localize the recycling. But now with that single update note, market workers now respect the task quantities they've been set, as well as the storage quota of the receiving warehouse. That is huge. Oh wow, our builders finished the markets while I was blabbering on there. Hope you're still with me, everyone. So anyway, let's redo these market routes. Oh, and before I do this, I'm renaming this bloody warehouse because it's driving me mad. Asgard Central. I like that. No, I don't like that. Caps off, please. Asgard Central. There we go. One more thing. Since this is probably going to take a while to go through, I'm going to go ahead and summon another villager. May as well work on something while monologuing some more, right? Okay, so tasks. From Asgard Central to Netherlick, Ragnar is our worker and he gets a new shiny cart. And we will be shipping all of the tools, ammo, and weapons Netherlick needs. So that'll be the crude iron axe for the woodcutter, whose job just got easier, actually. He's really just going to be harvesting wood, enough for the repairs of the village, as well as firewood for winter. Then we want a pickaxe for the miner. In fact, let's do 2, since we have 2 miners up there. 2 knives. These will be shared between the miners. Our hunter already has one. Then we'll need a rake for the farmer, and I do like using the iron rake over the wooden one for its durability. And one other thing I thought might be useful is a wooden hammer, since we do have a builder up there who will be needing to do repairs every now and then. Now, a few of these items are currently being made at the workshop up there. I'm just going to scale back the tasks for that workshop. I just wanted to focus mainly on torches for the mine and some basic linen clothes for our villagers out there, at least until we can start shipping up the linen gambesons. Then lastly, we want a longbow and some arrows for our hunter. Confirm, create, done. Now, with this market update, Ragnar is only ever going to ship those items in those quantities, and as long as our outpost storage also has limits on what to store, we won't be seeing it getting overloaded with a single type of tool and nothing else. Next, shipments back. We of course want to bring an entire full cart's worth of iron ore. That's the whole point of the outpost after all. Then for medium items, this is where it gets a bit clever, but I'm going to try and do this in the same order as well so it makes sense, at least in my head. But we want to bring back any broken axe heads, any broken pickaxe heads, and any broken knife blades. So if you think about it this way, we're shipping tools out, they get used, they break, the broken parts get stored, and we ship those parts back to New Asgard for the recycling. We're not doing the recycling in the outpost anymore. And then since I have room, I want to bring back as many leather hides as we can as well, as those are needed. If you remember, those are needed in the linen gambesons. We turn those into the cured leather hides. And this is the only place that's producing them right now, I believe. I think our New Asgard hunter only has access to those bloody smokers. And then lastly, some large stones, because why not? Our mine is full of them. And so that's what our routes look like. I hope this makes sense. Oh, bloody hell, it's 9:30. That took ages. Next up, I want a second worker, and I've already earmarked Adele, so let's go ahead and set up a market trade route for her. Hello everyone, Editor Bucky here. To save time, here are the two new routes I set up for Adele. One route is where she brings back all of those smaller items we made those two small bins for, but because they share the same slots as iron ore, I had to set a few limits on how much to bring in. So I went ahead with 10 iron ore, 25 leather scraps, 50 bones, and then 200 fiber. So that's all 20 small slots taken in the cart. Then for the medium items, I again just went with the leather hides, and for the large items, again, just with the large stones. We want to keep those coming in at a constant rate whenever they're available. And then her second route is an iron only route, which I'll keep an eye on, and if it's not worth it or helping in any way, I can just easily delete it and have her focused on that medley one. Whew, that took ages. Back to the game, right? I have been wanting to pick those two logs up for the longest time. It's finally done. Good morning again. So last night I decided to busy myself upgrading the mine here in Netherlick. It doesn't make the iron gathering any more efficient, but while upgrading it, I did put in that second worker, so now we do have round the clock iron mining, and I'm just nipping down here to harvest up some of the eggs to unlock those new crawler items as tasks. Now I need a crawler sack, and my RNG for these things is always abysmal. Or actually it's not. Perfect, there it is. Well, that was lucky. Let's get out of here. Now, the other reason we came out to Netherlick last night is so I can adjust the workshop. Now, I'm not going to fully demo this one yet, since it is doing good work crafting the basic linen clothing for everyone, as well as torches for the mine, but I will cancel all of the recycling jobs. We'll leave everything else for now. Then next up, revamp time. Let's demo the metalworker and the carpenter, and instead put up a weaver and nothing. No, let's actually put up the dyer just for the fun of it. Okay, they can do that on their own. Time to head back home. How is it nighttime again? I basically got one thing done during the day. We're definitely doing an extended day series next. You know what though? I'm going to take a nap at home in case there's a blood moon. We're about due one now, aren't we? No blood moon. That's surprising. I'm usually good at sensing them. Oh well, more time to build. So no blood moon, I guess I'm just going to tidy stuff up and wait for morning. Oh yes, I mean, oh no, a bear, where is it? Ah, but actually, hooray. Same place as the wolves spawned a few episodes ago, so which way are you going to go? I think it's more over this way. Yep, there he is. Hello, you big fuzzy bastard, let's fight. I want your hide. Ow! Yeah, we need elite enemies. Ah, dang, wrong side of the fence. Where is it? There it is, the heavy pelt. This is gonna be amazing. Well, it's morning now, but the storm will not let up. Overnight, I decided to expand Asgard Central here as we are running a bit tight on space, and this is sort of becoming our main delivery hub. But what I really wanted to get done, and what I was waiting for daytime for to show you, is making the new cape with that heavy bear pelt we got last night. So let's go ahead and throw it up on the drying rack and come back once it's ready. Now, you do need the upgraded leatherworker for this, and weirdly enough, you need the upgraded one too just to store it, but here we go. There it is. There's our cured heavy pelt. Let's pick that up. Come into our workbench. Scroll down here and heavy pelt cape. Let's make this. Look at that. That is so cool. Today has been a great day for upgrades. We are looking really, really dapper. So that's all I want to do logistics-wise with New Asgard and Netherlick. Now, I don't know if you remember, but in the last episode, the invasion episode, we had a bit of a problem with our weapons over at Yotenguard. I say bit of a problem. What we had actually was a near catastrophic incident in which all of our weapons over there broke and weren't being recycled, meaning with only a few hours before the invasion, I had to absolutely hoof it over there with some spare weapons I just happened to have on hand. Always keep spare weapons on hand is the lesson here. And so I took a look offline at what the issue was and I found it. So let's go over the points of failure so we all can learn and fix things for the future. So starting with the metal salvage bin, look, 6 metal axe heads just sitting in here doing nothing. This was the first point of failure because if we come over to the outpost, you know, which doubles as a warehouse, it has our metal part storage bin in it, but look, I never assigned a worker, so no one was ever going to pick up those metal axe heads and store them at the outpost. So we can go ahead and fix this by assigning Enno, the woodcutter, to the outpost here, and then for the opposite shift we'll go with Aska. The next point of failure was, did you break your weapon again? Ugh, you did, of course you did. Well, we're fixing it now. But yeah, the second point of failure is pretty hilarious if you ask me. So let me come on over to the workshop where we have 2 people working, mind you, and then come into the map, hover over Yotenguard, and the workshop is out of range by about a foot. So this is not actually part of this outpost, it's part of New Asgard. And honestly, if I had noticed this and switched this when we made the outpost, then the workers here would probably have collected the axe heads from the salvage bin and nothing would have gone wrong. But whatever, you live and learn. So I've released these 2 workers from the workshop here. They have now joined the builder pool. And then I'm going to completely demolish this workshop, extensions and all. Then over here, we'll demolish the woodcutter. Or no, we won't. We're not going to demolish the woodcutter. I made a mistake. Because actually we do need somebody here chopping wood because our fence, our wall is taking a beating every single day. So let's go ahead and put Enno back in here. That made me jump. I pressed that button at the wrong time, so I have no idea who just showed up. But yeah, we'll keep Enno at the woodcutter. We'll stop harvesting hardwood and instead just focus on logs, long sticks and firewood. Again, for wall repairs and winter prep. And we'll just keep the quantities on the lower end, not maxed out or anything, because we don't want to end up with a massive deforested mess out here. Now, we will need to replace Enno at the outpost because if an axe breaks overnight, I do want it collected for shipment back to New Asgard. So who can I replace Enno with? Harold fits the bill. There's our warning saying that he lives at a different outpost. That's fine. Confirm that and we'll just relocate Harold here to one of the cottages. Okay, that's all done. Now, let's give our defenders out here a well-deserved upgrade. Check this out. Ori, congratulations, you've been promoted to less likely to die. There's your new stuff. And you know what, I may as well just give her a new axe since I don't think the replacement will get shipped out till tomorrow. And I don't want her punching any jumpy boys, even with her new shiny gear. Linnea, here's your upgrades. I have no idea where our 3rd warrior sleeps. You're an archer, you're the healer, so Knut, you get just the gambeson. Astrid the archer, you get a gambeson. Hello, Clara, here you go. I don't know where our third warrior is, though. We have 3, right? You're Linnea. You're Ori. Where's Zelda? Why? Zelda, here's your upgrade. Stop wandering off. And that's it. Our Yotenguard, warriors, and archers kitted out in their fancy new upgrades. I like that a lot. That is so neat. I got a lot of spare outfits to get rid of now, though. Alright, so with the broken stuff over at Yotenguard fixed, I went ahead and assigned a new market worker overnight, Hedvig, who happens to be a trained former warrior because I want to run a little experiment with her. Don't worry, she knows she signed a waiver. But before I give her a route to run and she buggers off, I do want to give her one of those nice new linen gambesons and helmets, as well as a nice shiny new axe. Actually, she has her old one, so that's fine. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to assign her to the Militia. So let's go to the Eye of Odin, Militia, and find Hedvig. Where are you? There you are. Wait, nope, that's the wrong one. We have 2 Hedvig. I do not want to assign the other one. So let's assign the correct Hedvig to the Militia, and the reason why is because previously villagers with the steadfast resolve perk used to fight mobs, right? If they aggroed an enemy, they would stand and fight. I made videos about it, but that is no longer the case, either because it's bugged or it was never intended to work that way. But I was speaking with Darkwolf about this. He's an awesome Aska Twitch streamer, by the way, go check him out. And he told me that villagers assigned to the Militia will actually stand their ground and fight the same way that they used to with the steadfast resolve perk. That is huge, seriously, because before, if our market worker ran into a Draugr or something while on a delivery, they would run away, leaving their sled behind to get destroyed along with everything in it. But now, if you assign them to the Militia, they will stand and fight and therefore protect your sleds and carts and your hard-earned resources. So Hedvig here, who has 50 melee training by the way, now has armor and now has a weapon because she is going to be making market runs over to Yotenguard, and we often get wights and jumpy boys along the road, so now if she happens across any, she has a weapon, armor, and most importantly a chunk of melee proficiency, meaning she can more than handle herself. I'm pretty excited to test if this works. Hello, Editor Bucky here again with a quick overview of Hedvig's market routes. Firstly, she'll be going from Asgard Central up to Yotenguard with 3 one-handed battle axes for our warriors, 2 hammers for our builders so they can keep on top of repairs, 1 longbow and some arrows. Then for her return journey, she will be bringing back with her any broken axe heads for recycling. And with that set up, we're definitely no longer going to have an incident like we had last episode with Invasion Day of our warriors being weaponless. Okay, so the next big thing from the patch that I wanted to take a look at was the Tinkerer, but I want to do so with efficiency in mind, so I'm obviously going to have to over-engineer a solution by popping down yet another workshop house, and I'll explain why once it's all up and running. There, that looks good. It is way too late to be a blood moon. It's wolves this time, bears and wolves, but no blood moon. Oh my. Looks like someone started the fight without me. Ow, come on! Oh look, it's our market worker. See, she's fighting the wolves instead of running away, and that's why you put them in the Militia. Thanks, Darkwolf. Well, they finished the workshop and I didn't get to do my nice little shot of it getting done. Oh well. So why another workshop? Well, this one's going to become a double carpenter, and that will allow us to move our carpenters over here. Then our previous workshop will become a double metal worker with 4 free worker slots because the carpenters are no longer working there. And that'll mean we can move Eric, the shaman, into the metal worker as the tinkerer. Ooh, check this out. I just noticed that our armor smith has a full display of linen gambesons. That's awesome. Now, I don't need all my villagers running around in metal helmets, so let's cancel that and we can give them leather ones at some other point down the road. I like how the armor smith shows off the goods. Here, give me that, you doofus. But as for the whitelist, yeah, let's open it up so people can start coming in and grabbing these gambesons as and when they need to. So since we can't go over the Tinkerer until the workshop shuttle is done, let's instead pivot and take a look at the party system, which I absolutely 100% know is intended as a way to help with invasions and blood moons and whatnot by having warriors follow you around. But for me, immediately, it became a means by which I never have to harvest another Draugr body ever again. So you open up the Proud Chieftain's Hut, go to party menu, and you can assign anyone really that you want to join your party, and they'll stop what they're doing and come right on over to you. I will be going with my stonecutters because my goal is to harvest all the Draugr, and stonecutting is the skill involved in that, or the skill that helps speed that up. Let's head on over to Asgard Central to grab some tools and meet them. There's one right now. Hello, Ragnar. Let's open your inventory. Yeah, you don't have one, so let's trade you the iron pickaxe. What have you been using? You've been using the regular one this whole time. And here, you may as well have a gambeson. I have a spare one. And a helmet, because I'm tired of holding it. Looking good. Love your sideburns, mate. Now, where's your friend? There he is, was taking a nap. I thought when you put them in your party, they stopped everything they're doing, including their downtime. Maybe we caught him at an inconvenient time. But anyway, now that our party members are here, let's go harvest some Draugr. So if you don't know how to make your party harvest up corpses, if you hold R yourself, you'll harvest it yourself, right? But if you see, when you're in a party, you have that extra little bit on the tooltip that says left shift hold next page. And if you press that, hitting R now becomes harvest for the party. You hit R and then your party members will go around harvesting what you select. And that's why I chose the stonecutters, and that's why I made sure they had iron pickaxes, so I have the most efficient villagers for this particular job. And the really great thing about this is it queues up what you select. I don't know if there's a limit. I haven't seen a limit, but you can just go around like I'm doing right now. Tag everything with Shift R and they will harvest them one by one by one. Now, one thing to note is they will not pick up anything that is dropped while harvesting. So any Yotenguard, weapons, or anything like that is just going to stay out here in the field. And that's why I have a bunch of these builder flags all over the place, because that lets our workshop workers back in New Asgard know that there's stuff out here to be collected, and then they'll come out and pick up all of those Yotenguard, weapons, and other stuff. And that's honestly how I intend to be using the party system for the most part, because I'm super lazy and hate harvesting bodies, but I am also going to definitely be making a party of warriors come invasion day. Some other good ways to use the party system that I can think of would be to take a group of warriors to any bosses you're struggling with, or perhaps even to the large spire like I did prior to founding Yotenguard, because with a small army of warriors you can clear out the large spire every few days and get that big pile of Yotenblood. Now, one suggestion I do have for the devs, if they're watching, is adding some sort of quick select for party composition. So let's say you make a group of warriors, right? A function to make that group easily selectable again would be super helpful for some quick backup in a blood moon, because you really won't have the time to scroll through 50, 100 villagers looking for them in a pinch. Now, with this extension built, one thing I do need that I did mention that I have forgotten to build so far is I want a Yotenblood storage box. Now, this does mean they're going to start picking up the Yotenblood in my little dark wolf pen over there, which is a shame because I kind of like it. But on the other hand, I'm not going to lose any in the fields of corpses that I refuse to gather, so this is a fair trade-off, to be honest. Oh, and would you look at that, both of the carpenters have been built at our new workstation, so let's go ahead and assign our carpenters over to here, therefore freeing up some more space at the metalworker for a tinkerer. And Emilia here makes 4, so that's all of our carpenters working here. Now, the downside is we do have to redo the tasks, and I can't remember who was doing what. Who are you? Are you Emilia? You are Emilia. What tool do you have? That was not Emilia. Okay, so Emilia has no tool, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Carpentry's carpentry, and since she doesn't have a tool on her persons right now, I don't really need to worry about what I assign her to, whether it's the axe or the draw knife components. So for posts and beams that use the draw knife, we'll go with Emilia and Lars, and then for shafts and planks that use the axe, we'll go with Ulfhild and Laritz. And I'll try and remember to bump into them every now and then, just to make sure they're not holding the wrong tool, therefore taking it out of circulation. Wait, why is Frederick here? Are you done already? What do you want? Oh, your pickaxe broke. Here, take mine. You know what, Frederick? Just go to bed. Just go to bed, buddy. It's late. Let's grab some Yotenblood and summon another villager. Oh, no. Where are you coming from? Okay. Let's do this. Alright, work on the second improved metalworker is now done, so let's pop into the villager menu and look for Eric, the show-off shaman. He is our 100 skill shaman. He can come over here and he can act as our tinkerer. I'll assign him blacksmithing tasks eventually too, but he can just focus on uncovering those new Draugr recipes for us as and when we find the weapons. And before I forget, because he was the water runestone shaman, we're going to assign a new person to that, start skilling them up too, but also as a way to maintain that 3-star melee proficiency buff so that our warriors can continue their fast training. I don't really have a good candidate though. I guess Helga, you'll do. Now back here at the metalsmith, let's go ahead and take Eric off all the current tasks so he just focuses on the tinkering. This will take a minute. Okay, now that he's off all of the metalworking duty, let's come back into the task all the way at the bottom under study. Let's just assign Eric to all of these and then he'll just start working through what we have on hand. So we actually have a couple of weapons and a shield on this rack already, so hopefully Eric will come along and grab them. There he is. There he goes. Now let's follow him, see what he does with it. Pops it on the table and starts studying. Perfect, exactly what we wanted. And I don't know if you can see that little dial that's ticking up above the weapon where the runes are coming out, but that's the timer and you can see it's going really, really fast because he has that 100 shamanism skill. And once he's done, we'll get the biggest knowledge back possible versus me doing it with 0 shamanism skill and it'll just take forever. So last night, our 2 stonecutters did clear out all of the Draugr field, and our warehouse worker here will be bringing any weapons, Yotenguard, that they find. Doesn't look like they brought any more back in yet, but there could be more out there. We've done what we can with these builder flags, so it really is just a matter of time. And remember, we have all the Draugr bodies down here where we had our invasion. Now, I did get most of the squishies, but the Draugr and skeletons are mostly still there, so that is just another source of potential weapons, and I'll get to it in another episode. I certainly don't have enough time in this episode to do because I just seen that it is now summer and time to bring this episode to a close. After one last craft, that is. So that's it for today's episode. Lots done and lots to look forward to. I think next time we'll be fixing our food production and making a new outpost. So something to look forward to. Thank you so much for watching, and if you've enjoyed your time here, then please consider grabbing a sub, dropping a like or leaving a comment, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio.